I'm so excited to share the new StampTV kit, Season's Greetings. This kit is full of beautiful cardstock, patterned paper, ribbon, and embellishments that will help you create beautiful cards throughout the holiday season and beyond. Let me show you what's inside this kit. First, just like all of our kits, all of the components of this kit are stored in this plastic storage box. That makes it easy for you to keep all of the contents of the kit together so that as you continue to watch all of the videos each week, you can find all of the parts that you need to stamp along with me. Now inside, I'm going to start with the cardstock. We always have such beautiful cardstock colors in our kits. First, we have a brand new color I want to show you, and this is our brand new charcoal brown cardstock. Then you're going to get some of our blue denim cardstock. You're going to get some of our ivory layering weight cardstock, some of our cranberry tart cardstock, some of our white layering weight cardstock, some of the Christmas pine, some of the heavy base weight ivory cardstock, and that will be perfect for all your card bases, some of our warm cocoa, some of our heavy base weight white cardstock, and some of our in the navy cardstock. Now, along with all of this beautiful cardstock comes our new Season's Greetings pattern paper pack. And the colors that you're going to find in this kit that coordinate with our cardstock are the in the navy, warm cocoa, Christmas pine, and cranberry tart, along with the white and the ivory. Let me show you all the beautiful individual patterns you get with this pattern paper. So here's the cover sheet, and a lot of our stamping friends use this cover sheet to cut little pieces of pattern paper out. They also like to use these little borders as strips for across their cards, so don't toss this one. Keep it for the little elements. Then you're going to get 3 sheets of this beautiful Christmas pine snowflake. I love this one. This is the warm cocoa, and this has all different little ornaments and gifts and Christmas stockings. Then you get some of the cranberry tart check. And then this one is, let me turn this around here, this is a Christmas ornament paper that has the cranberry tart, but it also has white accents and ivory accents. So you can use this with either the white or the ivory cardstock. Then we have this beautiful in the navy snowflake pattern, some warm cocoa check, this fun bright pattern. This has Santa Claus and snowman and Christmas trees and all kinds of other cute little elements. And then we have, this is a powder blue check that really coordinates beautifully with this snowflake pattern because we've got some of the powder blue in there. So those two together with the navy or with the denim blue will look beautiful. Then we have a really, really pretty ribbon assortment here. You get a yard of each of these different coordinating ribbons. The first one here is our in the navy grosgrain ribbon. Then we have some ivory organdy ribbon. We have this beautiful cranberry tart. Now this cranberry tart is a deeper version of the cranberry tart cardstock and pattern paper, but it really looks beautiful together. So when you lay these together, it's a deeper shade of that cranberry, and I really like the way that looks. The satin looks so rich in the deeper shade. So that's a satin cranberry tart. Then we have some of this charcoal brown ribbon to match our new charcoal brown cardstock. We have Christmas pine. We have some of the blue denim in the grosgrain, some of the warm cocoa grosgrain, and then we have a white organdy ribbon. So all of these ribbons, you get a yard of each of all 8 of these different types of ribbon, and this is all in the 5/8 of an inch. Then you get a nice mixture of brushed copper and silver brads. These are perfect for holiday cards. The brushed copper will really look beautiful with the cranberry tart and the warm cocoa, and then the silver will really play off of the blues and the whites and the different elements in some of these little fun patterns here. And then we have two beautiful stamp sets. Now, usually, as of late, we've been doing 4 mini stamp sets. And we decided to use about the same amount of rubber, but to make 1 big stamp set and 1 mini stamp set, because some of the images in this new stamp set are kind of big. So you'll see what I mean when I flip this over. But the first stamp set that is in this kit is the Season's Greetings stamp set. And you can see that this has all kinds of beautiful Merry Christmas and Season's greetings, joy, different kinds of greetings, and then a couple of cute elements like a snowman and a Santa Claus that you can color in. And then it's got a lot of solid images that you can stamp in all of our new Color Companions inks. And you'll notice that this whole kit plays off of the 8 new Color Companions ink pads, buttons, ribbons, and all of our coordinating cardstock. So you'll be able to do a lot of solid stamping and match all of these colors. Now, take a look at how big these stamps are. You can see how huge this border is. This will fit on a card in either direction. And you can see these images are quite big. The front label is a little bit smaller because it needs to fit in the smaller box, but from the back there you can see they're just huge. And this has a binder sheet in it, so you can store all of these stamps on the front of the binder sheet. And then on the back of the binder sheet, you're going to get this mini stamp set. This is our snow frame. Now this stamp is gorgeous. It's got this huge frame and then this huge snowflake in the middle. And these are cut out separately as separate elements. But what I'm going to tell you is when you get your kit, make sure that you keep this extra piece of rubber. Let me show you what that will look like here. You want to keep that because we're going to be doing a couple techniques in there where you're going to want this centerpiece as well. So this is the frame, and then this is going to come out of the frame. So now you'll have this beautiful, look how huge that is. That's a beautiful frame. And then you have a snowflake in the center of this circle. But you're going to want to keep the outer part of the snowflake. Just put that aside. You can store it back in place if you want. So you'll be able to use the stamp like this if you wanted to have that fancy decorative center. Or you'll be able to stamp the snowflake inside the circle and maybe do a little bit of rock and roll around the outside if you've ever watched my rock and roll video technique. But you also can stamp this almost like a cookie cutter kind of stamp. You can stamp this in one color and then stamp an image inside, stamp the snowflake inside. You can line that up easily using the Stamp-A-Majig. Plus these stamps are cut so close, you can see how close they're cut, that it's pretty easy to just eyeball it. So make sure you keep that centerpiece. You're going to want to use that when you see some of the different things that we do here on StampTV. So that is all of the fabulous contents of this brand new kit. And the colors are just amazing. So now that you've seen all of the beautiful components of this new kit, stay tuned for the first Season's Greetings holiday project. I want to show you how to use the new Snow Frame mini stamp set that comes in the new Season's Greetings StampTV kit, along with some of the images in the main stamp set, the bigger stamp set, and how beautifully they all coordinate together with a little simple project that's going to pack a huge punch the way it looks. Okay, so let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to do this project. First, you're going to need this border. And whenever you use a border stamp, you want to use a long block, specifically one that has a grid like this, because then you can line the top of that border stamp up on one of the lines of the grid, and it makes it very easy to stamp it straight. You also want to use the snow frame, this big, beautiful frame that, if you notice, you look at this stamp and this stamp together, these are the same exact pattern, so you get a coordinating border and frame together. Then I'm going to use the Merry Christmas greeting, one of them that's in the kit, and I'm going to use this ornament. You're going to need some Versamark or some kind of embossing ink. Versamark is my favorite for embossing. And then I have a little bit of fine detail silver powder here. You're also going to need an embossing magic pad to remove any static or any oils or debris that's on the surface of your cardstock, so your embossing powder only sticks where you want it. Then I have a Spellbinders circle die here, and you can use a circle die, you can use an electronic cutter. There's lots of circle cut files out there that you can get for only 99 cents if you have the Cameo. I'm sure there's some Cricut files out there that have all different kinds of, or Cricut cartridges that have all different kinds of shapes. Or you can use a simple circle punch or a circle cutting tool. You're also going to need some 1/4 inch pop dots. I'm using my my heat tool, my Marvy heat tool, and a cuttlebug for die cutting. And then for cardstock, I've used some of the cardstocks pieces from the new Season's Greeting kit. I have the in the navy, and then I have some of our white. I have some more in the navy, and then I have a piece of our white ribbon. But actually this white ribbon goes with a different project, so I'm just going to put that aside. And then I have one more little piece here that I'm going to stamp on and cut with a die. Okay, so to begin, let's do some stamping with Versamark. I'm going to start by grabbing this larger piece of in the navy cardstock. Now I have cut this to fit perfectly over a white piece, leaving a little thin border around the outside. So you want to make sure that this is pre-cut before you're ready to stamp. And I'm going to use the embossing magic pad all over the surface of this to get rid of that static. Especially in the winter, there seems to be a little bit more static, winter and fall. I noticed my hair is more flyaway if I don't use enough conditioner and hair products, so you might have that same problem. You can always tell when it's a little more staticky. I'm going to start with the snow frame, and I really like this large 4 1/4 inch round block for this particular stamp because it has lines going across and then it has one long line going down the center. And what I did here was I positioned it so one point was at the top here on this line and one point on the bottom here was also on that line. This way I can use the line as my guide to make sure that I'm stamping it straight. So I'm going to ink this up with some of this Versamark ink. And Versamark is a nice sticky ink. It doesn't dry very quickly, so you can stamp quite a few things before you're ready to emboss, which is nice. And then I'm going to position this very close to the top, right about, and make sure it's even on both sides, right about here. And then I'm going to press down. And with a big stamp like this, you really want to press down all around to make sure you get a good impression everywhere. Okay, so that is stamped. Now I'm going to add this border underneath, and you can probably see that watermark showing through. So you can still see where you have stamped your frame. Okay. And now I'm going to stamp this straight down onto my piece of paper. And I'm just pressing on it a little bit as I go. You can see it got a good grab there. Okay, and now you can see the border is there, and my final stamp is going to be my greeting. So I'm going to ink that up real well with the Versamark. And the reason why I grabbed this piece of scrap paper and put it underneath is because I did stamp off of my cardstock. You see the border went over the edge. And if that happens, you don't want sticky stuff all over the surface of your table or your work mat. And then I'm going to stamp the greeting down here at the bottom. There we go. Now I'm going to sprinkle silver embossing powder over this entire thing. And I can use the piece of paper that's right here. This is going all over the entire surface. And you can see now all those embossed areas. And then I'm just going to blow away the excess. And make sure that nothing's stuck. If you see anything stuck somewhere where you don't want it, a good thing to have is a little paintbrush, a little dry paintbrush. I don't have one with me here, but I have one at home on my desk. And if there's a little bit of powder somewhere that I can't get, I just grab that paintbrush and just dust it right off. You don't want it to be wet though, so use something dry. Okay, I'm going to put this embossing powder away, and I'm going to emboss the front of this card. And wait till you see how pretty this looks. It does take a couple of minutes for the embossing powder to heat up, or the embossing gun to heat up, but once it does, it moves very quickly. Let's see how pretty that is. It just looks like shiny metal. And it's so nice because you've created this frame right on the surface of your card. You don't have to cut this out or anything. This is already right where it needs to be. And just give it a little bit of extra heat, make sure that everything is melted completely. And you can see how beautiful that looks. It's also shiny and beautiful. Isn't that pretty? That's like an instant card right there, just in one layer. Okay, so my next step is to grab this white piece of cardstock that we were talking about before. Now, one of the things that kind of drives me nuts, and maybe it's just me, but I bet some of you are like me, when you have silver cardstock or gold cardstock and it doesn't match your embossing powder. That kind of drives me nuts. I want everything to match, matchy-matchy. And so one way to avoid that problem is to just take a piece of white cardstock or ivory cardstock, some lighter color, and just take a Versamark pad and ink up around the edge. Turn it. Turn it again. We're just doing around the edge. You do want to make sure you go in far enough, but you can kind of see where you've put the ink. It'll just look shiny. Okay. Now I'm going to take that embossing powder again, and I'm going to sprinkle that all around the edges. Now remember, just a tiny little bit of this is going to show, so I don't need a whole lot of area embossed, and it doesn't have to look neat or pretty. It can look like that, and that certainly doesn't look neat or pretty. But it's okay, because once that focal image panel, or that panel with the frame, goes on top, you're not going to see any of that stuff in the middle there. So let's emboss that using the heat tool. Pick that up. And this is going to be the exact same color silver. You can see that starting to melt. That'll be the exact same color silver as all of my embossed images. Plus, this is actually a much cheaper way to make a card, because metallic cardstock is not cheap. It's kind of pricey. And if you only want a little tiny bit showing, you could just, you don't even have to do as much as I did. I probably went way overboard. You could use a Versa marker and just draw a thin line around the outside. So I'm just going to let that sit and cool for a second while I do my final image, which is going to be actually the focal image of this piece. I'm going to use the embossing magic here, and then I'm going to stamp that beautiful huge Christmas ornament. This has so much pretty detail in it, and it stamps so well on our deeply etched pre-cut rubber. You're going to love how crisp the image is, even when you emboss it. Okay, and now again with the embossing powder, I have a smaller piece of cardstock this time, so I'll just sprinkle that on top. You can see there's the Christmas ornament, and Put this back. And now it's time to emboss this image. Look at all of that beautiful detail. That is truly stunning. Okay, so now I'm going to use the cuttlebug, and I'm going to cut this image out using that circle die. I'm going to start with an A and a B plate. There's my A and my B plate. And then pop that image on there. And it's okay to cut off that little part up there. So make sure that that's nice and centered. And you're going to put the C plate on top and run it through the machine. Now, one thing that is nice about the dies is the ability to emboss, so I am going to emboss it, dry emboss it, by putting the mat on top, and then the second B plate, and a piece of chipboard. And I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but try this first without chipboard. Your cuttlebug might be just fine without it. Mine is a little bit looser, so I do need that extra pressure from that piece of chipboard. And there is my Christmas ornament. And it's got a little embossed edge around there. All right. So now it's time to assemble this card. So I have my main piece here and my card base. And then I have this beautiful silver embossed piece. So let's put these two pieces together first. Now, whenever you're embossing, you do want to use a little bit of extra adhesive because embossing always creates a little bit of a warped piece of cardstock, a little bit of a curl to it. So it's nice to have a little bit of extra adhesive to make sure it's laying down properly. So there, look at how pretty that is. It's the perfect match, that silver. So this little bar going across on the border just blends right in with the edges there. And now this panel is going to go on top of that In the Navy card base that I created. Got some glitter and sparkle all over everything. I don't know about you, but when it gets to holiday time, I seem to find glitter all over my house just from a few projects in my craft room. Okay, so that is now mounted on. Let me move that just a hair. I have a little bit more border on one side than the other, and I don't like that. Okay, so there is my card. And now I'm going to add this on top. And the reason I didn't stamp this Christmas ornament right onto the frame, which you can if you want to, but I wanted to create some more dimension to the card. So I wanted it to look a little more three-dimensional. So now I'm going to add some 1/4-inch pop dots on the back of this. And again, because it's embossed, you may want to add a couple extra pop dots. This way all of the different sides of this circle are, like the whole rim of the circle is down nice and tight. You won't see any warped areas on it. And pull these off. I think I folded that a little. I'm going to use a new one there. There we go. Okay. And this is going to go right on top. And you'll love how this still shows a little bit of that silver border from the frame itself. You can use that border as a guide to where to position it. And then make sure that's all down nice and tight. And there is my finished card project. The new season's Greetings StampTV kit is available now at GinaKDesigns.com. And stay tuned for weeks of episodes inspiring you with projects created using this new fabulous kit.